So when I go to the toilet, there's an automatic thought, oh, phone. And then right after is the thought, no, we're not going to do that. But then this thought that wanted to have the phone has a resistance. So I start feeling a resistance inside of me. And then it's even nicer to have the phone because I don't want to feel the resistance. And if I just grab the phone, the resistance is not there.
The grandpa that is walking there with the dog. And the dog is also there.
Yeah, the kind of like pedophile
Nice.
guy that's constantly wanting the children to come with him.
Yes, that's the one.
That's not my inner child. Where we're pushing yourselves is basically where willpower comes in, and when we're feeling pulled towards something, it's the flow state. Yes. So first podcast. How do you feel?
Terrific.
Terrific.
Yeah, how do you feel?
Terrified. Oh.
Yeah.
Nee. Excited to explore this journey with you. I think just to start off, I think this journey came a lot from the perspective of just really wanting to explore different spaces and really open up with you to have conversations that, you know, we anyways have. That are going into all sorts of deeper layers of reality and the things that fascinate us, like why the fuck are we here and what are good ways of operating on this earth? What do we like how do we operate in a way that we can actually function and that we can be successful as well in whatever way, shape or form success manifests for yourself and what you mean with that. But then also to just have a lot of fun. And I think we're pretty good at that together. We always have a lot of fun. So let's have some fun today.
Cool. Let's do that.
And we talked about the first topic for this podcast is finding the balance between what willpower, what role willpower plays versus flowing and just allowing your inspiration to come and then following that inspiration. And to give that some context, I think that for myself, this topic came up in the last 6 weeks because I got my baby 6 weeks ago. And then, of course, my full focus has been on, you know, raising this child and being there as much as I can. And luckily, I have the financial situation that I can choose not to work and just be there fully. But I was also noticing that to be actually optimally present and to feel just throughout the day, feel great, it is usually really good for me to have a set of habits that I follow, starting in the morning with some movement and some meditation, often like a workout, a yoga session, and then doing some meditation or some breath work or something like that. Now, in that period, of course, having a baby, I let all of that go, which was completely valid because, you know, life changes completely. My entire focus becomes taking care of this child. Whatever he needs in this moment is the most important, which I think is also how it should be, especially in the beginning. And at the same time, you know, there's this beautiful way that they always say, you know, yourself on priority 1, then your partner, and then your children. That's like this kind of system. And of course, that's a little bit debatable in a sense, because you can say like, well, I'm the biggest priority, but when your baby is crying and he needs help, he needs to eat, he needs to shit, he needs to, like, all these basic needs that come up, we can say, I right now also need to do, but it just becomes really simple, and you're like, no, I'm first gonna take care of the baby, and then I'll do my thing. So this brings up this entire topic of also how do we balance our day in a way that it is dedicated enough to the child, but at the same time we're taking care of ourselves. And in that, I started thinking about what's the balance between willpower and also putting yourself to a task, versus just letting everything flow and letting everything just go in a natural way, whatever happens and whatever shows up.
So that part of willpower, I mean, does that, do you experience that more often now that you have your baby? Do you experience that there are more moments that something gets activated from your willpower instead of just the flow?
No, I would say less because I need to be able to flow more because I can have all sorts of plans of what I want to do. Like if Leia, my girlfriend, and I we want to go out with our baby Noah,
Yeah.
then we can we can choose that at one point. Like let's go out for a walk, but then right in that moment he wakes up, and as soon as he wakes up, he usually first needs to pee or poop, and he needs to drink. So it's like we had it last week where we wanted to really go to a lake. So we were in the car, and then before we started driving, and then he woke up. So then in the back of the car, Leia was sitting there, and we already had him in the maxi cozy, like in the baby chair.
Yeah.
So we had to take him out of there and then put him on Leia's breast. Then that's usually taking like at least 20 minutes, the drinking.
Yeah.
Then Leia was like, oh, if it's going to take long, because afterwards he probably has to pee or poop again. Then I also get hungry. So I walked back inside the house while she was breastfeeding. I made the sandwich, came back out. And then she then afterwards also had to take his clothes off in order for him to pee or poop, because we are already doing excavation communication. I think they call that in English, which means you're already training the baby basically to learn how to pee or poop, and not
Yeah.
in the pampers or the diapers, but in a potty, or in this case in nature. We held him against a tree basically, so he had his first being against a tree experience. But it does mean that, it took quite a few extra hours before we were actually in a state where we were like, oh, now we're doing the walk. We're doing the thing that we were planning and setting out to do, which means I need to be more flexible, because maybe I had the idea, well, we'll do the walk for the next 2 hours, and then afterwards I get to still do my meditation, my yoga, whatever. That didn't really happen. I didn't really get to that point because it all just took longer. And that's just something that I need to flow more with. At the same time, I noticed as well that somehow I also completely let go of this willpower. That I just like, okay, I'm just going to flow with everything right now.
Yeah.
And I started becoming a little bit miserable in it, because I'm also sleeping many less hours. And I'm noticing that when I had some time, I tried to create time for myself. I noticed the desire that I needed some time for myself, but at the same time, not having that time anymore the way that I used to. I can't just say like, hey, I'm going to sit down behind my laptop and I'm going to do this or that. I'm going to watch something, or because Noah is constantly there needing something. Then I started to watch, for example, some YouTube videos whilst I was cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry or something like that. And of course, on itself, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I started noticing is that I was watching one YouTube video, another one, and this and this and that. First of all, the topics itself, it was related to something politics. It wasn't really high vibrational. It wasn't getting me excited. It wasn't raising my energy. And second of all, like watching these short kind of videos after one and after another always just somehow fucks up my brain a bit. Like it's like these dopamine hits that are coming.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that? Do you have something like that where you also distract yourself with some dopamine things?
Yeah, I do. Well, I mean, what I have to laugh a little because one of my my new guilty pleasures that I added to my dopamine input is the TV show Love is Blind.
Okay.
And
Can you explain what is that about?
it's about men and women who get to know each other sight unseen. So they do not connect in real life. They go in these little spaces that they call pods. So they go in these pods, and then they have the possibility to chit chat and date with. I believe it's either 15 or 16 men, 16 women, and they all have the possibility to date with each other. But these dates, they kind of look like you see them, it's a TV show, right? So you can see them on a couch, and the other one is also on the couch, but in like opposite from the room. And then you have like this big screen that's in the middle of it, and that's giving out all these colors and stuff, and that's where they sort of talk into, right? So that in that way they sort of connect to one another. And then, well, I mean, because it's they have, I believe they have for about a week or maybe 2 weeks max to find their soulmate in these pods. And if they feel comfortable enough, and if they're like, wow, this is someone that I really love, I mean, they actually really start loving each other, then the men have the possibility to propose.
After 2 weeks already.
Sight unseen, yeah. And after that, then they see each other like the day after. They have like the sort of like reveal day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the man again says, "Do you want to marry me?" And then, well, of course, they say yes. But you know that like they're talking about dopamine input. After that, they have a brief honeymoon phase, and then they actually go into real life together. So they live together for about a month, something like that.
That's also part of it. They get a honeymoon.
Yeah.
They record that, and then the living together, they also record it.
Yeah. Everything's being recorded.
And then they all break up.
Not in the end. Not always.
No,
No.
not in the end.
Actually, there are some couples that are still together, and I mean, I'm watching. I believe it's season 5 now. That's a good promotion for Love Is Blind, by the way. But I'm watching season 5 now, and but I'm noticing that some people, they actually do stay together, and then they have this wedding. And then, you know, they say either I do or not. And I mean, it's being all like, it's being blown up in a little bit, right? Because they say like the choice of your life, and like this is the biggest decision that you ever
the drama
made.
comes in a little bit.
Drama.
But at the same time, of course, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, getting married, what the fuck? That's like everyone that gets married has the idea of only doing it once. I mean, it does, of course, happen more often, but we all have that desire to just find that one and get married and live happily ever after.
I'll probably do it 3 times.
You'll do it 3 times?
Yeah.
Is that sarcastic, or is that... No, but fair enough. I mean, there's also people that are not in monogamy, and they like, okay, I can maybe marry someone, but it won't be forever. And marriage, of course, in that Christian sense, would be different than a ceremony where you celebrate your love, which
Definitely.
is also kind of like a marriage.
Oh yeah, no. I think I'm pretty hopelessly romantic somewhere. I do believe that there is one that is actually...
You want to find your Snow White.
Yes, she's my Snow White. Yes.
Gonna kiss her awake.
I'm gonna kiss her awake. I'm gonna hunt all the dwarves away and stuff. Yeah. No, but so that's a big dopamine input. But also reels. Short movies, short reels, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so for you, what makes then the difference between legitimately giving yourself the space to just like, I'm just gonna relax and watch this, versus you're noticing that it's actually not productive and you're just distracting yourself, and maybe you don't even feel more relaxed afterwards. What's that for you?
That's a good one. I do believe that I do not easily feel like I'm not being productive or I'm not being relaxed. So most of the times that I do watch it, I am relaxed. I'm in a pretty relaxed state. But it's also... I mean,
you become relaxed whilst watching it, or you're already relaxed before you start watching it?
Already relaxed.
Yeah, so you're not doing it to relax.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why are you?
I like the concept of it. When you're talking about that show, particularly, I like the concept about it, and also because I'm sort of exploring myself. You know, like again, the whole dating world, but also, you know, what it really attracts you to someone, and what doesn't attract you to someone, or what are the reasons that, you know, it could still like break off. What's in my own system? What's in my child's system? You know, what are the patterns that I can recognize? But no, I mean, most of the times when I watch something, either it's reels or shows, or I do it after a hard day's work. Because that way I already did the productive side, right? So I can accept it easier that way.
So
Which
there
is,
is some kind of a rule that you have for yourself on it, and that's an interesting thing, right? Like, are you allowing yourself to say, you know what? I can also. It doesn't have to have another side. In that sense, I need to be productive first, and then I can do something like this. Can we also just say, you know what? I'm fully okay the way I am, and if I want to watch this show, binge watch it for the next 3 weeks, then that's also okay. Or is then there's an internal voice that's like judging that and saying like, no, that's not okay. That's like,
it's not necessarily judging. It's more that if I would allow myself to just be fully okay with my impulses and what I would like to do, then somewhere my addiction pattern will come up, and I'll just be watching shows and playing video games 24/7. And there'll be no work involved. I mean, hey, if I gotta play a scene or something, sure, but I don't think that's necessarily a good side that I want to
yeah.
open up in myself.
And this actually opens up the conversation that I've been having in myself, because
Yeah,
I can also approach it from the other side, that as soon as we, in that sense, and it is a form of judging, because you're saying if I do this, then I'll get too much addicted, and
yeah,
I think you have a judgment about the addiction, right? You find,
yes, of course,
right?
I
So
do.
there is a judgment in it.
Yes,
But I've also noticed that when I sometimes judge something, the
yeah,
fact that I'm judging it keeps me in the loop. In that sense that I want to watch something, I do watch it, I feel guilty for watching it, and to kind of feel that guilt is annoying,
Mhm.
and therefore I watch something more again. Or I have this moment like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then I don't watch something, but then I at one point come back to it again, and I go through that cycle again.
Mm.
And I have the feeling it has worked in the past. For example, for me with Netflix, for example, where I decided at one point, you know what, I am gonna just take the next week, however long it takes. I'm just
Yeah,
going to be watching as much as I want. And then I was watching these movies, shows, whatever I was watching, binging, and there was at one point just this natural, not a judgment, there was just a natural feeling, not interested anymore. I want to create again. I want to do something out there again. And that's what I mean with following a natural flow. I had the impulse, wherever
yeah,
it comes from. I'm not
yeah,
judging that. I'm just
yeah.
saying, okay, that's what I feel right now I want to do. So I just do it until the point where I'm at one point noticing, okay, now I'm done with it. It's like, it's boring. I want to engage more with the world. I want to see people. I want to create something myself instead of consuming.
So what was like the first thing that you did when you had that feeling like, okay, I don't need it anymore? What was the first
Well, the
thing
funny thing is that usually also with some kind of movies or shows, I believe always in synchronicity, that everything always happens for a reason. So even the movies and shows that I'm watching are coming on my path for a specific reason. So there was at one point this show, and I was noticing that I had the desire to watch it even until like 2-3 a.m. in the morning. This was still before I had my baby. Right now I really don't do that anymore, because that's really killing, because then you don't sleep at all. But before that, and then I just like, okay, well, let me just watch it then. I couldn't sleep at night, and at one point I said to my girlfriend who was laying beside me, I was like, I'm just gonna go down, just relax a little bit before sleeping again. And before that, I would never allow myself that. I would say like, okay, just meditate, or just lay and allow yourself to lay and not sleep. That's also okay. But I had this impulse, so I'm like, okay, let me just follow this impulse then. And then I start watching this show, and in that show, at one point, I think it was Outlander, and at one point, there's a birth, and this was somewhere 2 months, 3 months before Noah was born. So Leia was pregnant, and there was this birth, and it emotionalized me quite intensely. I saw the birth happening, and it just started a process in me of already reflecting about how our birth will be. It started me researching out of that. After the episode was finished, I was just researching like birth, and we wanted to do a home birth, and we eventually did as well, which is really amazing.
Yeah.
So I suddenly, because I also felt a little bit guilty. Leia was preparing so much, looking so many things up, and I was also thinking like, yeah, I should also look things up, and I should know how like all these things work and what we need to buy and everything. But I kind of expected it at one point it will come, but it took so long. But then it came. Then suddenly there was this huge impulse to start preparing the birth. And then in the next days following that, I just went through a couple of things. Leia had also bought an online course about home birth, so we started watching that more together. There was a book that she already had recommended me many, many times before, and I just never started on it. I started on that, I read it, I finished it. So there was this natural flow where it wasn't just an addiction bringing me to the show, but it felt like almost like an inspiration
Mm.
that I was led to watch this, so that it activated me and inspired me to create. In that sense, create the perfect understanding of how a home birth would be.
That's beautiful. So this show created your whole idea of how you wanted to perceive this birth.
Yeah. You could say, yeah, but whole, maybe not whole. There was a little bit of here and there, and Leia, of course, shared throughout
Yeah.
the months already things, but a lot of it came also out of that. Yeah.
It's crazy that a show can have this kind of influence. So okay, was this flow or was this willpower?
This was definitely flow. I needed no willpower. I was inspired after I cried during the end of the show and how the birth happened and everything like that. And I cried, and then I was like, I'm so curious. And boom, I was finding myself online researching all sorts of things. And a couple of hours later, I'm like, okay, now it's really time to go to bed. But next morning I wake up and I felt inspired again to continue. And I feel like inspiration is the flow state. It's where
Yeah.
we get drawn instead of, it's like this push pull mode,
Yeah.
like where we're pushing yourselves is basically where willpower comes in. And when we're feeling pulled towards something, it's the flow state. It's automatic. We just enjoy doing it, and there's not so much of a it's difficult, and I have to fight for it, and I have to keep myself focused, and no, it's just easy. So this
Maybe
was
your
definitely
mind
flow.
maybe your mind is also being less intrusive when it comes to flow, right?
Yeah, you could say that. No, can you explain what you mean with your mind? What versus what?
Like your mind, like your thoughts or things that could create either an obstacle for the flow to be able to really be there, be present. Like, well, I mean, you're talking about judgment, right? Or that you're judging like an addiction or stuff like that, or judging the possibility of an addiction. So that's already your mind that is sort of being the intrusive factor there, and that would sort of like stop the flow to be able to really grow in its essence.
Exactly. Or also simply to just go through the motion of whatever the impulse is that I want to do, to the point where at one point I'm like, yeah, I don't know, it doesn't interest me anymore, and I move on to the next thing. Versus if I don't satisfy that impulse, there's this constant on the background. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I'm not fully present with this one thing here because I would love to do this other thing. And I'm not allowing myself to do this other thing because I'm using my willpower not to do it because I think it's unproductive.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't have the answer right now, because I noticed with that situation, it was a good thing that I decided to follow that impulse.
Yeah.
But that's why I've also created habits, in a sense that for me, watching shows and movies is more okay because it's taking me on a longer journey. I'm more immersed into it. Versus where if I watch these short YouTube videos, shorts, reels, there I really do feel like I watch a couple, I don't really get an insight. I feel, what they of course coined the doom scrolling, where you just go for the next thing and the next thing, and you just, oh, boring, next one, oh, boring, next, oh, this one's maybe interesting. You watch 10 seconds, oh, boring again, like, and it kind of feels like it just creates so much chaos in my brain. And sometimes afterwards also I'm like, okay, I really have to stop. And then I use my willpower, I put it down, and I sit to meditate. But then in the meditation, the first 5 minutes, I'm noticing how it almost feels like so many neurons are firing, like because all these impulses and so much light in my face and everything like that it's difficult to sit in meditation then.
Yeah, is it? You cannot continue with it then?
I can continue depending on the amount of willpower I have, but then I do need the willpower to go through those first 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes of where my brain is constantly still on and thinking about all the things I was just watching, and bringing it back into the present moment, just experiencing the now. And it's like constantly, it's like going boom, my mind goes away, I bring it back. Mind goes away, bring it back. And every 2 seconds I need to do that. And then after 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how bad it is, I start having more and more of a, I guess you could say, slowing down my brain waves to a point where I can focus my attention again in the
Yeah.
present moment
Mm-hmm.
and not on thought, basically.
And you do that by willpower?
In those moments, yeah. There's moments that I also meditate out of pure joy. In the morning, it's often more easy because then I wake up and my brainwaves are slow. When you wake up in the morning, your brainwaves are often in, when you're sleeping, they're in delta. Then when you wake up, you go to theta, which is also the highly suggestible state where you're programmed. Children between 0 and 7 are basically all the time in theta. Then you go into alpha, which is already a little bit more awake. And then beta is the brain state wave where we are all throughout the day in. We're in it now. We're talking. We're considering things. We're analytical, analyzing things. And in the morning, therefore, and in the evening, when you're anyways tired or you're just waking up, it's usually easier to go into a meditative state because you're already in theta. So then I don't need as much willpower to sit down and do it.
So depending on the state that you're in, and when you're talking about these wavelengths in your brain, you use a different kind of willpower, or you tap from a different kind of way to get your
Yeah.
willpower. Like what
Well,
are
I don't know, get your
what are
willpower.
the
Then
differences?
it's just not so related to willpower. Willpower for me is always related to I have to put myself to it. It's like in an expression, I would say it's this, like versus flow, where it just that's the
So it's
difference in the sensation.
sort of like an obligation to yourself.
Yeah, the willpower is kind of like an obligation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I really now have to. And I came to that point in the last 6 weeks. I allowed myself a lot of these like cooking and laundry and at the same time watching some YouTube videos. But then a couple of things started happening. I wasn't as present with the cooking, which I believe that when we're more present with cooking, we put more energy into the food and more love into the food, which makes the food better. I wasn't always hearing Leia in the sense that I was doing something else and I had on one ear then the YouTube, and then sometimes she called because she was in the bed upstairs. And then I would be like not hearing her well, that she was calling me to come up to help her or to bring something. Or I wasn't able to focus my attention so much on when she was sharing something because my mind was a bit scattered from watching so many different things or doing so many things and watching so many things at the same time. And then I just also decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just allow myself the space now to just follow the impulse. And I think I did that until like 1.5 weeks ago or something, where I was like, now it's really enough. Now it's really enough. Now I don't want to do this anymore because I'm just noticing inside of me, it just doesn't make me happy. But that is judgment, right? I am judging it then. I'm saying this is not okay anymore. And then I make a different choice. And I've done habit coaching. I've coached people setting up habits and how to use the psychology in a way that creating habits and sustaining your habits becomes as easy as possible. It still, you need some willpower, but it becomes easier. And I've done that again. I found an accountability buddy with whom I do the habits. I track my habits. I write exactly out what the habit is, what time of the day I do it, basically, what the habit entails, when can I check it off. Like, I don't just write meditate. I write meditate at least 15 minutes so that then I can check it off. And then I create like a contract with myself where I say, okay, this is how I do it. But that's very much willpower based. But I also felt better in the last 1.5 weeks.
Wow. So you checked your habits? Like you wrote all your habits down?
Yeah,
How did it work? I'm curious.
I use this app called Habit Share.
Yeah.
And I use this app also for my trainings that I did with the Law of Attraction business,
Yeah.
where I download the Habit Share app, and then you can add friends to it. And
Yeah.
one cornerstone that is being talked about by a lot of experts regarding habits, they say accountability. And I think many of us can relate to that, right? If you say that you're going to the gym 3 times a week, and you're
Yeah.
going by yourself, the chance of you going is much lower than when you have an appointment with someone where you say, okay, at 7 p.m. we go to the gym together, because you don't want to let your friend go there and then you not go. And so there's just an extra impulse, an extra external motivation, so to say, that allows you to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that app, I add all my habits. And I add descriptions, and in those descriptions I say, what is the habit exactly? Why do I do the habit? I think this is the crucial thing to do, because if you have a clear why, what it's contributing to,
Yeah.
then it helps me to remind myself as well that when I am slacking on the habit or I find it difficult, that I go back into the why, and I'm like, okay, why did I start this even? Why was this important again? Okay, I want to not be watching YouTube videos whilst I'm cooking. Why? I want the food to be good. I want to be present, that after I cook the food, that I'm just there with Leia and Noah. I want to see Noah growing up in a way where he doesn't get distracted by all these external things, that he lives in the world, that he's present, that he's not constantly on his phone doing all sorts of videos and things. Big motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And that emotionalizes me
Mm-hmm.
enough to say, okay, fuck, we're going to focus again. We're going to do this habit now. And that improves the chance of doing it. And then I believe that over time, doing a habit builds new neurological pathways. So maybe in the first month, you need to use quite some willpower to sustain it. But then
Yeah.
often after that first month, there's new neurological pathways built, and there is more of an experience of joy associated to the habit, which makes also the habit easier to do. So you use less willpower and more flow.
So these habits, I mean, you're saying like then there's more joy to it. Would you say that in the beginning there was no joy doing those
So
habits?
what I could tell you is that because it's almost like there's a train that's going 120 kilometers an hour
Yeah.
in my head.
Uh-huh.
And the best example I think is toilet. How many people use their phone on the toilet? Do you? When you go to the
No.
toilet, do you grab your
No.
phone out?
No.
Okay, so a lot of people that do. Even if I don't have these habits, I even search for my phone sometimes before I go to the toilet, so that when I'm on
Really?
the toilet, I
Yeah.
can open my phone and I can do something at the same time.
So is this a good thing or?
I mean, it all depends on what your goal is, right? And sometimes when I'm in a
Faster. Text faster.
sometimes when I'm in a phase where I really want to be productive, when I go
Yeah.
to the toilet and I have my phone, I'm answering messages, I'm checking this one thing that I still needed to check, so that when I come out, I'm done with it already whilst I'm on the toilet. And you could say, well, it's productive, but what I've also noticed is that productivity isn't so much of a cornerstone for happiness for me versus presence.
Yeah.
Just really just being in the moment, just experiencing whatever I'm experiencing in this moment. And thus, if I have had a period where I've allowed myself to be on my phone, which was also in the period last 6 weeks, when I'm on the toilet, then when I said at one point I'm not going to do that, this neurological pathway is built. So when I go to the toilet,
Yeah.
there's an automatic thought, oh, phone. And then the right after is the thought, no, we're not going to do that. But then this thought that wanted to have the phone has a resistance. So I start feeling a resistance inside of me. And then it's even nicer to have the phone because I don't want to feel the resistance. And if I just grab the phone, the resistance is not there.
Oh wow.
So I then in that moment need the willpower to
Yeah.
just say, okay, just feel that resistance, feel that feeling of like almost like a little child in me that's like, no, I want to have my phone. You know, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
seeing that part of me and just being with it and observing it and being okay with it. And yeah, then at one point it goes away. If you're having a good shit, that's always a good thing, right? Because let's be honest, if you're having a good shit, it feels pretty damn awesome as well.
The drop off is nice.
The drop off, the moment it drops, you mean?
Moment it drops.
The moment it drops.
That's the big
Martin likes
relief.
the moment it drops.
Yeah. I like the drop, man. I always like it in music also. When the drop, that's the best.
There we go. There we go. Not too much techno for you then. They often don't have drops.
They don't drop that much, no.
Yeah. Some house though. Some house is good.
I never heard a kid though with the voice that you did. I want to get my phone.
Little Timmy wants to have his phone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard. I heard that that guy from Family Guy, I believe, right?
No,
With
South
the,
Park.
which one is it? With
Crutches,
the,
no?
I believe so. Also with this dog, right? That's the one, right? Who has this whole room of old Nazi stuff and shit. That's one episode about
Oh,
it.
that is the maybe Family Guy, and then you're talking about Stewie.
No,
It's
it's
still-
the one. That's the grandpa that is walking down with the dog. And the dog is also there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the
Ah,
kind of like pedophile
nice.
guy that's constantly wanting the children to come with him.
Yes, that's the one.
That's not my inner child.
I heard that. It's my own projection.
Is that your inner child? Maybe.
Well, maybe.
That's why you have a van. Now I get it.
Now that exactly.
Van.
That is the whole reason behind this podcast. Please come to my van. No, it's a very funny character though. But it kind of sounded like that. You were putting up the inner child, but also with like the sort of like the grandpa style added to it. It was cool.
I think the only
that was flow.
What connects with that is the fact that this grandpa is also just following his flow.
Exactly.
He's not saying with his willpower, now come on, it's not okay to have sex with little children.
Some shows, also like South Park, like they get away with so many things. It's crazy.
I think it's so important though. I think it's so important to be able to joke about these things, because I think that humor and laughing,
Yeah.
Humor is often the thing that we don't expect. That's what makes something funny. Is that if we expect it, it's like, okay, yeah, sure. But if it's, oh, hey, that was an interesting twist. I did not expect you to go there. It has sometimes a sense of discomfort. The fact that we don't expect what is going to happen creates a form of discomfort. Laughter is a form of releasing that discomfort as well.
Of course, it's tension. Yeah.
Exactly. And when we're releasing that tension or the discomfort, then we're also often having the space to maybe release even more discomfort of something else that was stuck in our system, that was there from a couple hours before when we were talking to this one guy and it was a little bit tense and we didn't know what to say. And suddenly there's that release with it. So I think that's the importance of humor when in a sense that it needs to have that unexpectedness. And of course, when we're going into taboo topics, it's always creating that unexpected element.
Well, I mean, very true. But I mean, if you're not able to open it up and, to create, I mean, of course, it's not being brought into reality, but that's a total different thing, right? If you're able to laugh about it, also with dark humor or, any kind of humor, I mean, I fully agree there. It's so important to be able to open this up and to be able to laugh about it and share it with each other and
and break through the dogmas and the stigmas as well sometimes that are on things that are so people get so tight about certain topics.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so unnecessary, because when we are really just understanding the energy from which something comes, just mentioning something. Just like the same thing, I love to sometimes do that here when I'm living right now in Germany, right? And so Nazi jokes are not really chilled for Germans. You know,
Yeah,
there
they
is
don't
a
see that coming.
sensitive part to it in a way. And I like to just sometimes trigger that part. I like to just poke the bear and just, you know, I love already since I'm a child, I'm asking myself, why do people do what they do?
Yeah.
And to answer that question, it's sometimes good to just poke a bear and to say something that's a little bit outside of the norm to see how people respond
Yeah.
from a perspective of just trying to understand why do people do what they do, and why would you get so tight about a joke about Nazis that has nothing to do with
Hmm.
you? You could say, well, my grandparents were not. Yeah, well, even that doesn't have anything to do with you. You could have maybe some DNA part of that. No, like you didn't take those actions. You weren't the one doing that. So why would you need to be like very making yourself small and be like, oh no, we really can't say anything like that. Like just join in. If I make a joke, just make it bigger. That's the fun thing usually. That's what you're good at as well, Martin. When we make a joke, you jump into it. It's like improv, right? Improv is
Yes.
always yes and not
Yes.
no. And then it something becomes bigger with the original energy, which was a joke. It was supposed to be fun. And then you're like, no, we can't say that. I'm like, come on.
So
Come
okay.
on.
So what's like? Do you have an example? Like how do you exercise that with the German people around you?
The first, of course, easy example that we could say is where's my bike? No, you don't get it.
I don't know why
So
so bike.
what a lot of the Germans did is they stole the bikes from the Netherlands, the bicycles.
Ah, oh, you're referring to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, you know, maybe saying something, I'm gonna be so fast like a blitzkrieg or something like that. I'm just, you know, it's context, it's the moment, of course, that makes it funny as well. But you're just kind of referring to some of these things. Or when Leia is sometimes saying some things that she wants me to do and she's a little bit stressed, she can
Yeah.
be a little bit ordering around.
Yeah.
And then to say, yeah, Führer, you know, stuff like that, just to fuck with the energy a little bit. Like, come on, what are you doing? Why are you could just ask me to do this, I'll do it for you, but you don't have to order me around to do it. And then I just, in a funny way, bring that up by adding this element to it. And with her, I also know that it's really easy because she can also laugh about these things. But
That's good.
yeah, it's also interesting to see when people can't, because then you get this conversation going. Like, okay, so why not? What just happened?
Yeah, you talk about it?
Yeah. Same thing with our friend Jurgen. He's black, and so also that brings up an interesting conversation, right?
He's black. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of this, especially in this new age stuff. There's a lot of idea of racism and how quickly something is labeled as racism, which to me often is also just right away taking the fun out of things.
Yeah.
Because when something really is racist, it needs to be addressed. But
Of course.
there's a lot of, at least in my environment, a lot of conscious and awareness. Like I even believe that I had a past life as a black man, because where I was standing on top of like the castle wall, and it wasn't made of stone but of clay. And I was standing on top of it, and I looked out, and I was always looking out just to protect my village and to protect my people. And so I even feel an incredible connection somehow when I meet black people, that I just like already somehow have a feeling of like I have some roots in Africa from a past life. That's a different topic that we can maybe go into for some other time.
Yeah.
So nothing in me is racist in that sense. Nothing in me thinks that black people for some reason are different, are different or worse than any other color.
Yeah.
And therefore it's interesting to then open up that topic, and in certain situations with other people being around, then to say to Jurgen, for example, to refer to something like to command him as my slave. And I don't do that to make him small, because he knows I am doing that as a joke, because we're good friends, and we know, and we're fucking around with the third person in the room, who then maybe like reacts to that and is like, whoa, you can't say that, man.
Yeah.
And then we often open up the topic, because then they see that Jurgen is responding positively to it. Because when I'm saying something like that, and I do it with the energy like, yo, slave, get me some of this. I'm doing it with joy. I'm doing it with a fun energy. And
Yeah.
they're transforming my energy into like, you can't say that. And then they make it tight. I'm like, no. You didn't get the energy of what I was sharing. You didn't
Yeah.
get it. I was
Yeah.
actually sharing a humorous, joyful thing.
Yeah.
And you're interpreting that as something racist, which it has nothing to do with it. So actually, this person wasn't present. This person went into its constructs about society and how we view certain words,
Yeah.
and thereby judging what I said.
It's the
But I
pressure
don't
from
think that the word
society.
is
Yeah.
the word is just a program, right?
Yeah.
How do we interpret words? It's just based on the past. We have heard a word multiple times in the past, and at one point we form what that word basically means.
Mm.
But it doesn't take us in the present anymore, because when I say it in that moment, it's so much joy and fun. And then Jurgen is like, yeah, let me do it. You know, it's like, because we're fucking around and we both know. And so it doesn't make sense for that person then to be so tight and react to it.
Oh, I mean, it's also vice versa, right? I mean, there were numerous times when Jurgen came to me and he's like, "Oh, boss, did I chop the cotton in a good way?" And I'm like, "This is just fucking funny." I mean, I can also feel very offended by it. By, wow, how can you say this? And
Yeah, I'm not a slave
we got
trader.
all these exactly. I don't want to be put there now. And this is, I can also invert it to this is racism to me. But I mean, it should always be possible to joke about this, and specifically these kind of topics and things, because otherwise they get so like closed up that you're also somewhere killing the soul and killing the flow. When you're talking about flow, and well, I mean, it's an added value that we're friends and that we know each other. And I believe that in trustworthy, close circles, it should always be possible. But definitely expanding it towards, society itself.
It would be great if society
Yeah.
itself has a little bit more freedom in
Yes.
regard in being able to be present in situations. That's
Yes.
all I'm asking for.
This feeling of being
fully
triggered,
present,
Yeah.
if you're fully present, then you could get the energy the right way. But because you have social constructs and your mind thoughts made up of what something means, it's like I can say, yo, motherfucker, what's up? And you're like, yeah. I can also say, yo, motherfucker, what are you doing? And like, it's all about the energy. It's not about the wording. It's about the energy behind it. So let's be present with the energy and not anymore so present in our fucking minds, thinking always about what a word means. That's basically the invitation when I trigger people, that I love to open up that topic and to say, like, can you just see the fun in it? Okay, let's, like, we're spinning, we're on a big ball hurling through space around a fireball into infinite space. Like, that's so absurd. That's so incredibly absurd. Why are we taking it all so seriously?
It's a good one, man.
And when something really is racist, and someone is really like, yeah, that's not okay that this person is, I don't know, sitting in the front of the bus, to take the original example, it's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous if you actually think that there's difference based on the color of skin. I ridicule that because it just doesn't make sense whatsoever. Every human being should be seen for the character and judged on its character.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, this whole thing about ethnicity and color. And I saw one movie that is still sort of comes back in my mind a few times. I think definitely a few times a month even. This guy is asking, he is asking to, I believe it's sort of like, how do you call, like the Jamba style, Rastafari? I think it's a Rastafari that he asks. So a white guy asks like, hey, so what is, am I black? Are we different? And then he responds with, it's all about the soul. You and me, we're the same. So black, you see color, right? But We're the same. We have the same blood. We have the same. It's a really nice video that I watch now and then. You cannot pop it up right now, but it's a really good example.
I could if you have the video. I could, but
Yeah, I'll have to. I don't know
but
how
I
to.
get I do get the gist of it already.
It's
And,
just it's just beautiful. Like with
Yeah.
just one color, man, one color. There's nothing else, And it's just a beautiful. But there are so many examples of that, and also in the social connections that I had throughout my life in this crazy ball that's going through the universe. It's crazy that you say it like that. Now I'm also being mesmerized by it.
Oh,
Like,
it helps me so much to sometimes go back to that perspective because it makes all my problems really small.
Yeah.
Because what every day happens that I have nothing to do with is that my heart's beating, all my blood's flowing everywhere, and my organs are working usually perfectly. My heart will continue beating as long as I'm living.
Yeah.
The sun comes up every single day. The weather is always in a way where we can survive it because just a little bit of a difference. And we already noticed that when you're going to the Mount Everest and you go to the top of the mountain, like there's a lot of people still dying when they climb the Mount Everest, because as soon as you go into a certain altitude, your entire body is not able to adjust to that. It's not able to handle that.
Yeah.
And we're living in a perfect atmosphere where we can survive and thrive. And there's so many other things that just, and nowadays, and when you're living in a good Western world society, you have running water, you can take showers, there's food in supermarkets. Like, basically, the only thing we really need for happiness is food and water, shelter, meaning a place to live, and companionship, friendship. And if we have those three things, we have enough to be happy. And of course, we have a Western society that's focused on materialism and sometimes goes a little bit too far into needing to have more and more and more and more in order to be happy. But that comes then also, to go back again to the topic, goes to dopamine, right? It's the dopamine cycle where we need to have more things so that we can have this gratification feeling, which lasts maybe minutes, hours, maybe a week if it's something big, and then it becomes the normal thing that you have this new television or this new car. It's really not where happiness lays. That's all found in just being very happy with the fact that we have our basic needs covered. Just like with Noah right now. He just poops, pees, and he drinks, and he sleeps.
I wish I was there, man.
Man, and he's happy. When he wakes up, he's like, "Hey, I'm here," and then he has this little smile on his face, which so cute, so incredibly cute. It's like perfect example of just being present. Like, what was this thing? I think yesterday or the day before, Leia was, we had put him in the bed already upstairs, and then I went down again because we still wanted to quickly talk about something. And we put him in the middle of a big bed so he wouldn't fall out easily, And then at one point he started making sounds, so I went up to get him. I took him down. I sat down on the couch, and then Leia said, she looked at his face and she interpreted his face as if he is a little bit bitter that we left him alone upstairs. And then I just said, like, baby can't do that. He's fully present in the moment. He has no idea anymore of that moment before. He's just right now being right now again. And right away after that, his smile came on again. But it's interesting how we then project also that onto, right? Like, oh, he didn't like it that we left him alone there, and now he's so sad and he's bitter with us. He's resenting us now. It's like resentment is
That's your own system.
Yeah. A baby of that age does not have that emotion yet. Yeah.
It's a prime example, man, how to be even more intuitive and really connected to your own flow, your heart, your true desire, and not just what your system has embedded all those years.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep fooling ourselves every day.
Mm-hmm. And that's why presence over pleasure. That's my main, like, vision for whatever I do throughout my day is it giving me more presence instead of pleasure, because pleasure is short term, happiness is long term, and if I'm present, happiness just becomes an end result. that just flows out of that. And maybe not directly. It might be that I'm becoming present, and then first I have these aches and these discomforts in my system that need to come out. But as long as I stay present with them, they will come out, and then I will feel relaxed after that.
Now I understand why I'm doing it wrong all my life. Because pleasure is my present.
Pleasure is your present.
Yeah, damn it. All these little presents, and it's nice, and then it's gone. Ah, wow. This is an eye opener. I mean, I'm making a joke about it, but it's actually seriously.
Yeah, I also felt like, wait, you were laughing, and then I was like, I think there's a core of truth
There's
to
some
that.
truth behind it.
Yeah.
Well, I got something to figure out now.
So share what comes up.
Well, so it started as a joke, right? But I mean, pleasure is my present, and I don't mean it as present as in we are in the present, right? I mean it as a gift,
A gift, yeah.
like a little
Constant gifts that you're constantly, just like the dopamine, right? That you're constantly
exactly.
like, I get or like with your birthday, I get a gift. Oh, so nice. Oh, what is it? Oh shit, I don't want to have this gift. Maybe that's not the gift then, but when it's pleasure, then it's the gift. It creates more pleasure.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, how long are you happy with it? And then you want to have more of it.
That's not the free will dildo I asked for. God damn it.
The free will dildo or the three-way dildo?
Freeway.
Three-way.
Free will. The free willpower dildo.
Oh, love it.
There is some truth behind it. I think that especially when I'm more in isolation and I isolate myself more, then I tend to nurture myself through little presents. Yeah. If I'm not really connected to my flow, or if I am in a bit of a negative mindset, then my first instinct would be to get myself present, to create pleasure again, to create fun, to create, not just sex. It's not just a big dildo. It's, no, but I mean, all jokes aside.
No, but that's also indeed like in what people, when they go on shopping sprees, for example.
Yeah, it's like a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism, and there's something inside of you that wants attention, and you don't feel like you can handle it, and you want to cover it up.
Yeah. I used to do that a lot when I didn't feel the connection with my dad. When we had some tough talks, or when we were just distant for a longer time, then I used to cover that up by just buying expensive stuff to sort of fill in that gap, that hole, right?
Yeah. And then, like, what kind of things did you buy?
Stupid things. So expensive. Like big things, like electronics and big TV screens, or really luxurious chairs. And I'm like, do I need this? I don't know, but the value is high. So the higher the value, the more the feeling I had that it would fill in this gap easier or faster.
It will create value inside of you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then
it was also
a couple of days, a couple of weeks,
a couple of months, and it was easy to do it because they just started at that point with online shops, right, where you could create your own account, and then you could also decide what the financial value of it was, or what you could use from it, right? So like a sort of like a virtual wallet.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I didn't take into my own accountability was that it was actual real money, right? That we were talking about. So before I knew it, I had 7,000 to 8,000 euros just open on this account. And then I had to pay it back. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh shit. Oh, this is real. Oh, And all this stuff, yeah, I mean, some of it, because the receipt came maybe a year or 1.5 year later, right? Where they were like, okay, so you got to pay now. And I was like, so that was also a big lesson for me to get back to reality, use my willpower to work a lot, work my ass off, and understand that nothing is being given by the thought of, hey, I'm gonna create pleasure for myself, to buy something, to consume. That really threw me off,
Yeah.
the whole consumer path. So
And so there, it
as
really
you could
helped you
see,
to then use the willpower to put yourself into a position where you wouldn't do that anymore.
yeah,
Pay it off so that you could, and then afterwards, I guess, resist the impulse for buying some things in moments that you felt bad, and then trying to
yes,
work through the emotion itself.
yes, exactly. Yeah, if I really felt like that, like I want to buy something or whatever, then I would. I sort of created the habit for myself to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go for a walk outside.
Yeah, those
Call
things are
someone.
good. Sometimes it's also what people then, when they want to have smokes or something, to have the habit of smoking replaced with, for example, going for a walk and taking deep breaths without the cigarette in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, when I conclude then also where I'm at right now in regards to the
Yeah.
flow willpower situation, is that I think that when we use willpower to become as present as possible, then what I think it does is it raises our frequency. And what I mean with that is that I believe that we are vibrating in a certain frequency and that it shifts all the time. But if we look at the scale of Dr. David Hawkins, I think his name is, he has basically put all the emotions on different frequencies, starting with shame, guilt, apathy, anger, sadness. And then at one point you come to like a form of neutrality, courage, acceptance, love, joy, peace, enlightenment, in maybe not exactly in that category, but something along those lines. I believe that when we are in a state of love or above, it's pretty easy to make decisions that are good for us, in the sense that our flow just takes us in the right directions.
Yeah.
We think about something that we want to do, and if we're in fear and we're thinking about this thing that comes as an inspiration to do, like put a video out online, or stand in front of a stage, or talk to this girl, or whatever it is, we might not take the action because we have the fear thoughts popping in that are saying, you can't do this, you're not good enough, she's going to reject you, no one's going to watch your videos, whatever these kind of thoughts then pop up, and then we choose not to do it because of the fear of being rejected and not being good enough.
Yeah.
As soon as we're in higher frequencies like love, then we're just thinking, sure, let's do it. And I think that a beautiful example of that, even though I think that I don't want to promote the use of drugs, but I do think it gives an interesting insight sometimes when you're using MDMA, for example. And when I use MDMA for example, at a festival, I talk to people and I don't think about approaching that person and saying something and what they then might say back and how that may be awkward or maybe wrong. Even though when I'm not feeling good, I do think those things. And I resist the approaching someone, or maybe I have a compliment. Maybe I see a woman, and even though I have my partner and I have a child now, I see a woman and I think she looks absolutely gorgeous. My programming and my fear could say, like, no, you can't say that because you already have a partner. What she's gonna think, she's gonna give the wrong signal. You can't just say something like that because then she thinks you're flirting with her. Like, there's all sorts of thoughts that could come up. And I'm using a girl as example, but I could say to a guy a similar thing. But if I just have the impulse, wow, I find you gorgeous, and that's it. I don't need anything from her. I just wanted to express that. And I allow myself, that's following that flow. But that's so much easier to do when I'm in a state of love. And of course, how do you call that, chemically created in that
Yeah.
sense, right? Because then with the MDMA, you're feeling that. But of course, through presence exercises, through healing your trauma, you get the same experience over the longer term. But sometimes having that experience just is a good reminder of what's possible. That's what I feel. I don't feel like an MDMA experience is something that is not attainable. I feel it's definitely attainable. I've felt it before also without any drugs. It just gives me also a pathway to move towards that. But when I'm in that festival, I'm expressing all my love to everyone all the time, and I have no expectations whatsoever on what they're responding. And even if they look at me weird, my mind is like, oh, they must be in a bad mood, or they must, or maybe I can even help them. And then I just approach even more. And I'm like, hey, are you okay? Are you doing fine? Instead of thinking, oh, they thought I was weird, and maybe they thought I wanted something, and therefore they closed off. And no, I didn't make it my own. I kept it with them, and I even from that loving place approached even more to help them to see if they can also come and join me in love.
Yeah.
Then we don't need willpower, I think, because then we're
In
just
that state,
then we're just flowing, and then we're having also amazing ideas. I also have festivals where I sit in the corner of the festival space and I have the music on the background. I take my phone out, I write down the best business ideas and things that I want to create with people, and that this person I have to tell that they did this really amazing, and like I read it all out, and then the next day I actually take action on it, and I actually do it. So it's this shift towards these higher frequencies.
Yeah.
Where I do think willpower is necessary.
Yeah.
Where when we are in fear, either choosing to break through the fear, feel the fear and do it anyway, meaning do approach this person, do the public speaking, do make the video, just do it, just break through it. But if that still feels like too big of a step, then to create also through willpower a setting in which you reflect on the fear, either by yourself, either through some traumatic therapy, breath work, talking with a good friend about it. Explore, become curious. Because, and I'm not saying this as if I have it all figured out, because I still run into it myself, but I try to be as curious as possible in the moment that I'm noticing that I have a fearful thought that is creating a contraction in me. I see two different emotions. I see contracting emotions and expanding emotions. The more contracting, the lower frequency. The more expanding, the higher in frequency it goes. And that also means, by the way, that if I move from an energy of maybe apathy or shame or guilt into anger, it's actually a raising of frequency. You could say anger is a negative emotion, but no, I don't think about it like that. You see, it's not. The balloons are already saying it. It's not. It's incredibly empowering when you're in shame or guilt, because you're making yourself so small. And anger is like expressive and making yourself bigger and powerful. Of course, in that anger is also still something, maybe you're hurting someone when you're being angry to them, right? But it's at least you're standing up for yourself more than you did when you were in shame and guilt. So you're raising your frequency.
Anger is more like the catalyst, right?
For change.
Yeah,
definitely creates change. And
Where did
then
those
so
balloons come
therefore what?
Where did those balloons come from?
I think that if I do something like this.
No, are you kidding me? Seriously?
Yeah, I can even bring the love out. You have confetti.
Why do I get confetti? Hey, there we go.
The love is real, and the fireworks are also real.
Filled up? No.
Fireworks? No fireworks. Yay, fireworks! People that are just listening to the audio of this are thinking like, what are they doing? We just have some special effects into the entire thing, which is a Mac option. Yeah. Anyways, so what I use my willpower for is to put myself into the positions that I can raise my frequency, meaning I sit myself the fuck down when I don't feel like it to meditate or to look inside of something. I call my friend when I'm noticing that I don't want to call him because I just want to hide away my problems, which is especially the thing that men do a lot more, which also makes the suicidal rate for men 4 times as high as women. I believe it has a lot to do with the fact that men don't express their emotions. Women are a lot better at that. And so when we are actually able to grab that phone, and I feel the resistance because I feel a little bit shame. For example, I feel like, oh, I should have this solved already. I'm this teacher. I can teach people. Why would I run into this problem? I don't run it, so I shouldn't call someone to tell about this problem because it's not really a problem anyways. I can fix it, but then I don't fix it. So I've learned, no, in that moment, sometimes just grab the phone, call this friend that doesn't judge me for it, right? Because you need to choose vulnerability in the right places. Don't just be vulnerable everywhere, because some people will make use of it. But if you have the right people around you that applaud your vulnerability and dive in with it. Oh, interesting that that's happening to you. Where's that coming from? Why do you think that happened to you? And why are you judging it so much? And just asking these questions to help you figure it out. And maybe at one point there's this elevation and this releasing of these lower frequencies to come to this point where flows are automatic and it just moves basically through you. I think that's the so far conclusion that I've gotten to. And then always I need to judge where I am at, because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna flow with it now and right now. But am I flowing with it because I'm actually avoiding, or am I using am I avoiding, and am I using actually this thought about flow in the advantage of my avoidant behavior? That I'm avoiding the thing? Or is it actual flow, and is it just good to follow it? And that's always discerning, choosing. And of course, always checking in with myself. Do I feel better after I did the thing that I let myself do? And then making mistakes. And being also okay with making mistakes. I think that's so important. Because as soon as you start judging your thing, it also creates, again, it creates a resistance and a lower frequency, actually, because you're judging yourself, and therefore then afterwards you might feel shame that you've done it, and now you're actually lowering your frequency again.
That's interesting, because is that always connected to shame, that you lower your frequency? Is shame one of the key aspects that makes you lower your frequency?
I mean, I would say that shame...
It's a big word, right? There's a whole big thing about shame.
Shame is a very contracting emotion, and it doesn't allow us to actually do the things that, like the dreams that we have, the visions that we have, the things that we want to achieve and do in the world. Yeah. Shame is one of the biggest blockers to actually doing it. So I would say shame is a pretty low frequency, and that's then based on that knowledge. And then besides that, having Dr. David Hawkins' skill, who just also tested that the frequency of shame is like at 20, it's like really low. Whereas love is on 500.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're putting yourself down with shame, so it's kind of logical there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And I come.
Do you have your own conclusion on it, or a different perspective, or
on flow?
On this balance, flow, willpower, and
I think that most of the time I reside on flow, not on willpower. I need something to really kickstart that willpower up. I don't mind like using willpower, and I don't mind it controlling me sometimes. I think the biggest conclusion between flow and willpower, flow is, well, what you said, it's more intuitively, right? It's more the actual flow, the actual just releasing, letting go, not taking control, not letting your mind or ego have more space there, but really live from the heart, live from if you have an impulse, follow the impulse. If you feel like, hey, this is something I would like to do, then do it. Don't hold yourself back. Not like commit a murder or something, but I mean,
yeah, but like how much that wouldn't be actual flow. That's the discernment. We need to have the ability to discern when is something coming from this egoic, lower frequency
Yeah.
mind, just kind of like, oh, I'm so angry at this person, I need to kill him,
Yeah, exactly.
versus a higher frequency of love where that's what that needs to be within the definition of flow, needs to be that it's coming from this higher frequency where we are able to tap into ideas and inspiration and
Yeah.
expanding. It needs to be
Yeah.
an expanding emotion, and killing someone, I can't imagine it feels expanding in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, flow. I mean, you can sort of connect flow to love in a lot of ways. Also, I mean, when I'm creating or playing like roles or creating
Yeah, because you're an
any
actor, right?
exactly, yeah, yeah. Any kind of creative part or process, whether it's playing with other actors around me or whether it's preparing for auditions or doing self tapes or performing. Um, there's always flow, and it's always with the highest frequency, and it's always with the best intention of love, I
And
guess.
is there at the same time also the willpower? Because I could imagine that, if you have an audition and you're feeling somewhat afraid of the not getting the part or something, that you really kind of have to somewhat get yourself to it. Maybe it feels sometimes like scary to do it, and you're like, oh, I don't know if maybe I won't get the role. And
Not necessarily. You need willpower to keep going on, or I mean, I need willpower to keep going on because the world is not easy at all. You get 95 to 90 rejections of the 100 possibilities.
and then
And
that rejection could take you into lower frequencies, right? And then you might feel
good.
like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I can't do this. And then you need the willpower to shift you again back into, no, I am good enough, and I have a vision, and I want to become successful, and I want to do this, and it gives me joy to act. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that most of all, you just need to have, or I need to have a lot of love for the art, for the for everything that revolves around acting. Because if I don't have that love, it's not possible. Because there are so many harsh moments where otherwise you would just be knocked down. So I need the willpower to keep going on, and I need the flow to let the willpower go and really relax. Definitely when it comes to bigger roles or bigger expectations, the more I need to relax and
Mhm.
not let my mind interfere there.
Super fascinating topic, I'd say, as well. Super fascinating that this element of really finding yourself in a situation where you're getting so many rejections, that you really, the psychology of that must be also, you really grew and became a lot stronger, I think, through that. And I don't think we're going to choose to go into that topic now because I see the time, but it might be already another
Yeah.
conversation to have, right? I'm just super curious to
Yes.
dive into that, how that world is, and how you've dealt with some of those rejections, and also what were some of the successes. So maybe we can see that as another topic to jump into sometime, and also
Yeah,
the
sure.
psychology behind that, and how to understand how to go for our dreams. I think that's a beautiful thing that might link as well to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I'm happy that we have this first episode because it came through flow, right? That was just a
No,
lot
it's
of
pure
joy.
willpower.
Also interesting because it came again through flow, in the sense that I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I was just hearing him interview guys, and
Yeah.
he's not always just asking questions. He's just having conversations, and he's
Uh-huh.
sometimes also, as the host himself, just ranting, and he shares some podcasts. He even shares more than the guest does.
Mm.
And at the same time, it's one of the most popular self-development podcasts out there. So there's definitely a space for that. And then when listening to that's what basically popped into my mind. It's like how amazing that would be to create something like that where we can just flow. And then you popped into my mind right away as someone to do this with, because we can flow together and we have fun, and all these topics. I found this conversation really easy to have.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that came so much out of this flow. And I think also, yeah, now let's just continue flowing in all the next episodes.
Let's do that.
And if you found something useful in this, you're always welcome to find us and share whatever that is. If it's going to be through a review on Spotify, if it's going to be an Instagram personal message, or underneath a comment or of a video or something like that, is very, very welcome. It's really nice to hear how something is landing for some people, and then we're learning as well at the same time. And then we're just going to continue doing this because we enjoy it. That's the essence, right? We're having fun.
Right.
Are you
Yeah.
having fun? You should be having fun. Are you not having fun?
I'm having fun. Yes.
You better. I force fun on you. I use my willpower to make it fun.
Oh my God! I already heard it in the German accent now.
Super. Ja, genau. That make it full circle. You better get in line.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one. Thank you if you have been listening all this time for this first episode, and look forward to the next one coming. Most likely it's going to happen in a week. Maybe it's already out if you're looking at this later. Know that you can always watch this in video format and also in audio. And yeah, anything else, Martin?
Oh God, they can watch it. Yeah. No, it's fine. No, I. Where did I keep the? No. Got it. This is good. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if you enjoyed like listening to this, we're definitely gonna create more. And I really like this. I mean, you know, when you're talking about flow, this was really like flowing. I had no, you know, this was no work. I had zero effort to put into this. So I really like this, Ruben. Thanks. And looking forward to the next one.
Me too, brother. All right. Talk soon.
Talk soon.